top story, a trade war of words. Hello and good morning to you. Graham Russell here with what's happening today. Theresa May urged EU leaders in her Florence speech to be imaginative and creative in sorting out their post-Brexit relationship, and it looks as though they've done just that. The EU negotiator Michel Barnier has suggested a trade deal putting the UK on a par with Canada. Barnier also said creating such a pact would take years and would therefore involve a transition period during which the UK would have to accept the continuation of EU law and the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice. That would seem to cross a few red lines. His remarks stand in contrast to those of Theresa May, who signaled yesterday the UK needed to quickly settle the trade side of things next year before agreeing a transitional deal. She said that, in order to have a transitional deal, you need to know what that future partnership is going to be. Shall we all just start again, as London's mayor, Sadiq Khan, has, sort of, suggested? China gets Mao 2.0. Xi Jinping has just been consecrated as China's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong after a new body of political thought carrying his name, Xi Thought, was added to the Communist Party's constitution. As the 19th Party Congress wrapped up in Beijing, Xi gave a final regal address, saying, "More than 1.3 billion Chinese people live in jubilation and dignity. Our land radiates with enormous dynamism. Our Chinese civilization shines with lasting splendor and glamour." The leader, who now enters his second five-year term in power, has promised a new era of international power and influence. A drug of choice, patients at greatest risk of cardiovascular disease are being underprescribed statins, while those at lower risk are too often being given them, a 5-year study of 1.4 million patients has found. Some experts suggest the lack of treatment is down to concerns about effectiveness and possible side effects. Prof. Helen Stokes-Lampard, the chair of the Royal College of GPs, said the figures were interesting, but risked simplifying the issue. Many don't want to take statins once they have learned all the facts, and GPs will respect patient choice. Gina Miller, the Brexit campaigner who has been threatened with acid attacks and is still held up as a hate figure, has been named the country's most influential black person. "It's amazing to get an accolade when what I've done has solicited a huge amount of abuse," said Miller, who has 24-hour security protection. She successfully challenged the government over its authority to trigger Article 50 and became a target for many Brexit supporters. Gina Miller. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Photograph, Dylan Martinez, Reuters. Star Power. The doctoral thesis written by Stephen Hawking more than 50 years ago has attracted astronomical interest, with weight of demand for an online copy crashing servers at Cambridge University. Properties of Expanding Universes was downloaded 60,000 times in less than 24 hours, and that figure presumably reflects only the people who were successful. The document was put online as part of Open Access Week. Trump v. Widow. The U.S. president's phone call to the widow of a Special Forces soldier killed in Niger actually made her cry even worse, she has said in her first public comments. Michelle Johnson also said Donald Trump forgot the name of her husband, LaDavid Johnson, during a call that attracted criticism after he said the soldier knew what he signed up for, but it hurts anyways. Trump did that thing where he picks a fight, even with a war widow. He tweeted that he spoke his name from beginning, without hesitation. Snapped. Sometimes a story comes along that makes you, rather insensitively, think. Darwin Awards. Well, a group of men, yep, danger signs already, risk one day becoming contenders after they were photographed climbing into a baited crocodile trap near the scene of a fatal attack. The local mayor in northern Queensland wondered if they were vying for the Idiots of the Century award. P.S. Climbing into crocodile traps is illegal, though the crocs rarely complain. Lunchtime read, anguish over the postmodern mosque. Vali-e-Asr Mosque in central Tehran, Iran. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Photographed, Deed Studio. It sits in a culturally important part of Tehran, contains big prayer halls, cultural centers and an imam's residence. Its design was inspired by the Quba Mosque, the oldest in the world, dating back to the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad. The problem is the Wali-e-Asr Mosque doesn't have minarets, and its postmodern design is less imposing than the neighboring theater, writes Saeed Kamali Degan. Such is the anger that Iranian hardliners are refusing to recognize it as a mosque, saying it is empty of any meaning. Its funding has now been cut, leaving the interior design unfinished and its fate in doubt. Sport. Advertisement. A headache awaits for Eddie Jones after 3 of England's strongest forwards, including the captain, Dylan Hartley, were cited following the weekend's European Rugby Union fixtures. Ronald Koeman, meanwhile, has paid the price for Everton's shambolic start to the season and muddled transfer window. At FIFA's awards night, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lieke Martens were awarded Men's and Women's Players of the Year respectively, with Ronaldo winning for a 5th time. The Women's Award, however, was marred by controversy, with a 3-person shortlist for the award including a college student who has never played international football. Finally, Iron Lady Lucy Charles has opened up to Sean Ingle about her shock podium finish last week in her first Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. Business. Manufacturers are facing the worst skill shortage in years, according to a CBI survey, with investment slowing as the growth in orders falters. The CBI's chief economist urged the government to boost industry incentives in next month's budget. And Nils Pratley writes that the Financial Conduct Authority needs to speed up its process of redress, as shown by its action on Royal Bank of Scotland's alleged mistreatment of small business customers. The pound is buying $1.321 and $1.123. The papers. Plenty of editors spent last night chewing over the May Juncker dinner and the PM's combative statement on trade talks, but I shall turn to the FT first. It gives plenty of space to an interview with Zelda Perkins, a London-based former assistant of Harvey Weinstein. It reports she was sexually harassed for years by Weinstein and reached a settlement, along with a colleague who says she was sexually assaulted. Perkins has broken her non-disclosure agreement to expose the legal process that kept her claims a secret for 19 years. The headline is, Gagged, Weinstein X8 rounds on the legal system that abetted mogul. Guardian front page 24/10/17. Photograph, The Guardian. Next we have The Guardian, which goes 3 ways with May's Brexit trade deal threat, a report highlighting police failures to tackle modern slavery, plus an amazing picture of Theresa May made to look like Jeremy Corbyn. The Times has been told of Angela Merkel's anger at the leaking of the Brexit dinner details, fearing it could lead to May losing power. The Eye is more buoyant, with the headline, May shrugs off Juncker leaks and says the Prime Minister is upbeat as she sets out mission to fight for best deal. It also tempts you to part with 60p with a blurb promising to answer the question, what do Peep Show and Buddhism have in common? The Express has moved on from Stormwatch to a call to stop the foreign aid madness, which is not an illness, but a campaign to divert funds spent on foreign aid to helping the NHS and the elderly instead. Advertisement. The Telegraph has a hint of May's Brexit stance, but focuses on the lack of use of statins among high-risk patients. It suggests patients might be put off by the side effects and controversy about the treatment's effectiveness. It also gives us a tally of the Queen's record at the races. 451 wins and £6.7 million prosperity in 30 years. The Mirror returns to calls for Lord's reform, saying 17 peers have claimed £400,000 in expenses, but have neither spoken nor posed a single question. In an anti-establishment move that will furrow the brows of sub-editors everywhere, they fit in a 2. ellipsis in the headline, "Oh Lord. They're at it again." The Sun carries a former QPR ladies player's unsettling account of an attempted rape by a married but unnamed Premier League player in 2012 after a night out in London. And the Mail splashes with a gene study that has identified 179 mutations that put a fifth of women at a significantly higher risk of breast cancer. Sign up. If you would like to receive the Guardian morning briefing by email bright and early every weekday, sign up here. We'll get straight to the point. We need you. More people are reading The Guardian than ever, but advertising revenues across the media are falling fast. And unlike many news organizations, we haven't put up a paywall. We want to keep our journalism as open as we can. So you can see why we need to ask for your help. The Guardian's independent investigative journalism takes a lot of time, money and hard work to produce. But we do it because we believe our perspective matters, because it might well be your perspective too. I appreciate there not being a paywall. It is more democratic for the media to be available for all and not a commodity to be purchased by a few. I'm happy to make a contribution so others with less means still have access to information. Thomasine Fr. If everyone who reads our reporting, who likes it, helps to support it, our future would be much more secure.